It was a regular Monday at Lincoln Middle School. The bell rang loud and clear, like a big shout telling everyone to hurry up. Kids ran through the halls, laughing and yelling, their sneakers squeaking on the shiny floor. Lockers slammed shut, and backpacks bounced on shoulders. In the middle of all that noise, there was 13-year-old Maya Jackson. She didn't run or shout. She just walked quietly to her locker, her head down a little, her steps slow and careful. Maya was the new girl at school. She was small, with a shy smile and big brown eyes that sparkled like they were keeping a secret. Most kids didn't even look at her. She was like a shadow passing by there, but not really noticed. But not everyone ignored her. Oh no, there was one boy who saw her right away. His name was Tyler Brooks. Tyler wasn't just any kid. He was the king of the schoolyard, the boss of the playground. He walked around like he owned everything: the swings, the basketball court, even the air everyone breathed. Tyler had a loud mouth that never stopped talking, and he loved picking on anyone who seemed weaker than him. He'd laugh and point, making kids feel small and scared. To him, Maya was perfect. She was quiet, she was new, and she didn't fight back. In Tyler's eyes, that made her an easy target, like a little fish swimming right into a shark's jaws. That Monday, as Maya opened her locker, Tyler spotted her from across the hall. He grinned, showing his teeth like a wolf ready to pounce. "Hey, new girl," he shouted, loud enough for everyone to hear. A few kids turned to look, giggling already. Maya didn't answer. She just kept her eyes on her books, pulling out a math notebook with her small hands. Tyler didn't like that. He strutted over, his chest puffed out, his sneakers stomping the floor. He wanted her to look at him, to be scared. But Maya. She stayed calm, like a still pond even when someone throws a rock in it. See, here's the thing: nobody at Lincoln Middle School knew who Maya really was. Not the teachers with their coffee cups and grade books. Not the kids with their lunch trays and silly jokes. And definitely not Tyler Brooks, with his big voice and mean tricks. They all thought she was just some quiet girl, someone who didn't matter much. But they were so wrong. Maya wasn't just shy. She wasn't just new. She had a secret, a huge, giant, amazing secret. And that secret was like a bomb waiting to go off, ready to flip everything at that school upside down. Imagine you're at school, and there's someone nobody notices. Maybe they sit alone at lunch or don't talk much in class. What if they were hiding something big? That's what Maya was doing. Every time she walked those halls, every time she looked at the floor instead of at Tyler's smirking face, she was holding onto something nobody could guess. It wasn't just a little secret, like sneaking candy into class. No, this was way bigger. It was the kind of secret that could make jaws drop and eyes go wide. The kind that could turn a bully's laugh into a scared little squeak. Let's go back to that Monday. The hall was buzzing like a beehive. Kids were shoving past each other, racing to class before the second bell. Maya's locker was near the end of the row, painted green like all the others. She had a little mirror inside the door, and she peeked at herself for a second. Her big brown eyes stared back, steady and strong. She didn't look scared, even though Tyler was getting closer. He leaned against the locker next to hers, crossing his arms like he was some kind of movie star. "What's your name, huh?" he asked, his voice loud and rude. "You too shy to talk, new girl." Maya didn't answer right away. She closed her locker with a soft click and turned to face him. Her eyes met his, and for a tiny moment, Tyler stopped smiling. There was something in her look, something he didn't expect. It wasn't fear. It wasn't tears. It was like she knew something he didn't, and that made him blink. But then he shook it off and laughed again, louder this time. "Oh, this is gonna be fun," he said, cracking his knuckles. The kids around him laughed too, like a pack of hyenas following their leader. But Maya. She didn't flinch. She picked up her backpack, slung it over one shoulder, and started walking away. Tyler yelled after her, "Where you going, huh? Can't run from me." His voice bounced off the walls, but Maya kept going, her steps even and sure. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. Because deep down, she wasn't running. She was waiting. Waiting for the right moment to let her secret out. So, what do you think Maya's hiding? Is it something cool, like a superpower? Or maybe something wild, Like a treasure map. Whatever it is, it's big enough to shake up Tyler's world and everyone else's too. Picture this, a girl who seems so small and quiet, but she's got something huge tucked away, like a lion hiding in a kitten's body. That's Maya Jackson. And Tyler Brooks? He's got no idea what's coming. Before we keep going, let me ask you something fun. Have you ever met someone who surprised you? Like, they seemed super quiet, but then bam, they did something awesome? That's what this story's all about. And hey, where are you reading this from today? Your house? School? Somewhere else? Drop it in the comments below. Oh, and if you like stories where bullies get a big surprise, stick around because this one's just getting started. Tyler thought he was the king, the toughest kid around. He thought Maya was nothing. But he was about to learn a lesson he'd never forget. Every time he laughed at her, every time he tried to make her feel small, he was stepping closer to a trap he couldn't see. Maya's secret wasn't just a little thing to giggle about. It was power. It was strength. And it was coming for him like a storm he didn't know was brewing. The halls of Lincoln Middle School were loud that day, but Maya's quiet was louder. She moved through the crowd like a ghost, unseen but unstoppable. Tyler kept his eyes on her, thinking he'd won already. He didn't know it yet, but he'd picked the wrong girl to mess with. Her big brown eyes weren't just pretty, they were watching, waiting, and planning. And soon, everyone would find out why. It was a sunny afternoon at Lincoln Middle School, and the playground was buzzing with kids. The bell for recess had just rung, and everyone spilled outside like a big wave. Some ran to the swings, others kicked a soccer ball, and a few just stood around chatting. But over by the benches, something else was happening. Tyler Brooks strutted up to Maya Jackson like he owned the whole place. His head was high, his shoulders back, and a mean grin stretched across his face. He looked like a king walking through his kingdom, and he was ready to cause trouble. "Hey, new girl," he sneered, his voice loud and sharp. He stepped right up to Maya, who was sitting on a bench with her books in her lap. Before she could even look up, he swatted her books out of her hands. They hit the ground with a thud, her math book, her science notebook, even her little pencil case. Papers flew out and scattered in the dirt. "What's your deal?" Tyler said, leaning closer. "Too scared to talk." His words were like a slap, meant to sting. The other kids nearby stopped what they were doing. They turned to watch, some giggling, some whispering. A few even shouted, "Yeah, Tyler. Get her." They egged him on, like a crowd cheering for a show. Tyler loved it. He puffed out his chest even more, feeding off their laughs. To him, this was fun, a game he always won. But Maya. She didn't play his game. She didn't yell or cry or run away. She just bent down, slow and calm, and started picking up her books. One by one, she stacked them back in her arms. Then she stood up straight and looked at him. Her big brown eyes were steady, like a lake with no ripples. She didn't say a word. Tyler didn't like that. He wanted her to be mad or scared, anything but quiet. "Ah, look at her," he mocked, turning to the crowd with a big fake frown. "Poor little new girl. Probably gonna cry to her mommy later." The kids laughed again, louder this time. They pointed and snickered, thinking Tyler was the funniest guy ever. He grinned, soaking it all in. He thought he had her figured out. A shy girl, an easy target, someone who'd just take it and stay small. Oh, how wrong he was. So wrong. Maya wasn't scared. Not even a little bit. She stood there, books hugged to her chest, watching him with those calm eyes. She wasn't shaking or sniffing back tears. She was patient, like a cat waiting by a mouse hole. She'd dealt with jerks like Tyler before, loud kids who thought they were tough. Back at her old school, there'd been a boy just like him, always picking on her. She'd learned something then, yelling didn't stop them. Fighting didn't always work. But waiting could be powerful. And every time Tyler messed with her, she got a little quieter and a little stronger. See, Tyler didn't know it, but he was walking right into trouble. Every mean word, every shove, every laugh, he was digging his own grave. Not with a shovel, but with his own hands, piling up dirt he couldn't see. Maya wasn't weak. She wasn't helpless. She was like a storm cloud, growing bigger and darker, the kind you don't notice until the rain starts pouring. Tyler thought he was winning this little war. He thought he was the king and she was nothing. But kings can fall, and Maya was ready to push. Let's picture that moment again. The playground was noisy, kids shouting, balls bouncing, the wind rustling the trees. Tyler stood over Maya, tall and loud, his shadow falling across her. His buddies circled around, clapping him on the back, saying, "You're the man, Tyler." Maya's books were still in her arms, a little dusty from the ground. Her black hair fell over one shoulder, and her face was still, like a statue. Tyler kept talking, his voice sharp and fast. "What's wrong, huh? You gonna run away now? Go hide somewhere." He laughed, and the other kids laughed too, like it was the best joke ever. But Maya didn't move. She didn't run. She just looked at him, her eyes locked on his. For a second, just a tiny second, Tyler's laugh got quieter. He blinked, like something felt off. Those eyes of hers weren't crying. They weren't afraid. They were strong, like they could see right through him. It was weird, and he didn't like it. But he shook it off quick. "Whatever," he said, turning to his friends. "She's boring. Let's go." He strutted away, tossing one last smirk over his shoulder. The crowd followed him, still giggling, leaving Maya alone by the bench. She watched them go. Her hands tightened on her books, but her face stayed calm. Inside, though, something was growing. Every mean thing Tyler did was like a brick, stacking up higher and higher. He didn't know it, but he was building something dangerous, not for her, but for himself. Maya had seen his kind before. She knew how they worked. They pushed and pushed until they thought they'd won. But she also knew something else: the quiet ones can surprise you. And she was the quietest of all. What would you do if someone treated you like that? Think about it for a second. Imagine you're Maya, standing there with your stuff on the ground, a big loud kid making fun of you. Would you yell back? Would you push him? Or would you wait, like she did, for the perfect moment to turn it all around? It's a tough spot, right? Tyler thought he was so smart, so tough. He thought Maya was nothing. But he didn't see the strength in her silence. He didn't hear the ticking clock counting down to his big mistake. The sun was still shining that afternoon, warm and bright. The playground went back to normal, kids running, playing, shouting. Maya sat down on the bench again, opening her math book like nothing had happened. But something had happened. Something small, but important. Tyler had poked the bear, and the bear wasn't sleeping. It was awake, watching, waiting. Every laugh he threw at her, every mean word, was another step closer to his own trouble. He thought he was digging a hole for Maya, but really, he was digging one for himself. So, what's gonna happen next? Tyler's on top right now, acting like the big boss. But Maya's not done. She's got something up her sleeve, something he can't even imagine. What do you think she'll do? How's she gonna flip this whole thing around? Stick with me, because this story's about to get even better. Tyler's in for a shock, and you won't want to miss it. Days went by at Lincoln Middle School, and Tyler Brooks didn't stop. He was like a storm that wouldn't go away, always rumbling and making trouble. Every chance he got, he picked on Maya Jackson. In the lunch line, he'd shove her with his shoulder, making her tray wobble. "Oops," he'd say, laughing like it was a big joke. In the hallway, he'd stick out his foot and trip her, watching her stumble while his buddies clapped. One time, he even grabbed a marker and scribbled mean notes on her desk before class. "Loser," one note said in big, sloppy letters. Another one read, "Go back where you came from." The black ink stared up at her like a bully's ugly grin. The other kids saw it all. Some joined in, laughing with Tyler or adding their own mean words. "Yeah, get lost," one shouted. Others just looked away, pretending they didn't notice. They'd shuffle their feet or stare at the floor, too scared to say anything. Tyler loved that. It made him feel big, like he was the boss of everyone. He'd strut around with his chest puffed out, grinning at how nobody stopped him. To him, Maya was just a quiet little mouse he could chase whenever he wanted. But Maya. She didn't cry or yell. She didn't run to the teacher or fight back with fists. She kept her cool, like ice that doesn't melt even in the sun. Every time Tyler messed with her, she stayed calm. She'd pick up her tray, fix her books, or wipe the mean words off her desk with a quiet swipe. Then she'd look at him not with mad eyes, but with smart ones. She watched Tyler like a hawk watches a field, noticing every little thing he did. She saw how he bragged about his dad's fancy car, a shiny red one he said cost $1 million. "My dad's the best," he'd tell his friends, his voice loud and proud. "He's got money, and nobody messes with us." She noticed how he always got away with stuff too, no detention, no trouble, like he had a magic shield. Maya didn't say much, but she listened. She paid attention. Every shove, every mean note, every brag, it was like she was collecting pieces of a puzzle. She didn't let Tyler see it, but inside, she was building something. Not a tower or a castle, but a plan. A quiet, sneaky plan that was growing bigger every day. Tyler thought he was winning, pushing her down again and again. But he didn't know he was the one falling right into a trap he couldn't see. Then one day, something happened. It was a Wednesday, and the cafeteria was loud with kids talking and trays clanging. Maya was sitting at her usual spot, a little table by the window, away from the crowd. Tyler was across the room with his buddies, laughing and tossing French fries at each other. She could hear him from where she sat, his voice cutting through the noise like a siren. "My dad says I can do whatever I want," he boasted, leaning back in his chair. "Nobody messes with the Brooks family. We're untouchable." His friends nodded, grinning like he was some kind of superhero. "Yeah, Tyler's dad is cool," one said. "He's got that big car and everything." Maya's head tilted just a tiny bit. She was eating her sandwich, but her ears were wide open. She heard every word Tyler said, and something flickered in her eyes. Her lips twitched almost like a tiny smile, so small you'd miss it if you blinked. She set her sandwich down, reached into her pocket, and pulled out her phone. Her fingers moved fast, tapping the screen. She wrote a quick text, just 3 little words, "He's at it again." Then she hit send and slipped the phone back into her pocket. She picked up her sandwich and took another bite, like nothing big had happened. But something big had happened. That text wasn't just words, it was a spark, the start of a fire Tyler didn't even know was coming. He kept laughing with his friends, tossing fries, and bragging some more. He had no idea what Maya had just done. He didn't know that those 3 words were like a key turning in a lock, opening a door he couldn't close. Little did Tyler know, that text was about to change his whole world. It was like a quiet bomb ticking away, and he was too busy being loud to hear it. Let's think about that for a second. Maya didn't look mad. She didn't look scared. She just sat there, eating her lunch, watching Tyler act like a big shot. But that text, who was it for? What did it mean? She wasn't just texting a friend to say hi. No, this was something else. Something secret. Something strong. Tyler thought he was the king of the school, pushing Maya around like she was nothing. But kings don't always see the danger right in front of them. And Maya? She was danger wrapped in a quiet package. Days kept passing, and Tyler kept going. Thursday morning, he bumped her in the hall on purpose, making her drop her pencil. "Clumsy much," he said, laughing as she bent down to grab it. Friday, he stuck a note on her locker that said, "Nobody likes you." Each time, the other kids either cheered him on or stayed quiet. And each time, Maya picked herself up, brushed it off, and watched him. She didn't miss a thing: how he smirked, how he flexed his arms, how he looked around to make sure everyone saw him being mean. She was like a detective, gathering clues without anyone noticing. What do you think she's planning? She's not just sitting there taking it, she's up to something. That text, "He's at it again," wasn't random. Someone's on the other end of that phone, someone who's listening, someone who matters. Any guesses who it might be? Maybe a friend? A teacher? Or someone way bigger than that? Tyler's out there bragging about his dad, but what if Maya's got someone even tougher in her corner? It's like a game of chess, and she's moving her pieces while Tyler's busy knocking over the board. The school days rolled on, and the air felt heavier. Tyler didn't feel it, he was too loud, too full of himself. But Maya did. She felt the change coming, slow and steady, like a train getting closer. Every shove, every note, every brag from Tyler was pushing that train faster. He thought he was the strongest kid around, untouchable like he said. But Maya's quiet wasn't weak. It was power, building up, waiting to burst. It all went down on Friday afternoon at Lincoln Middle School. The week had been long and loud, with Tyler Brooks picking on Maya Jackson every single day. But this day? This day was different. The sun was dipping low, painting the sky orange, and kids were spilling out of the building after the last bell. Most were headed home, but not Tyler. He had one more plan up his sleeve. He spotted Maya walking near the gym, her backpack swinging on one shoulder. She was alone, like always, and to Tyler, that made her the perfect target one last time. He jogged over, his sneakers slapping the pavement, a big grin on his face. He cornered her by the gym wall, where the bricks were red and scratched up. "Time to teach you a lesson, weirdo," he said, his voice sharp and mean. He cracked his knuckles, popping them loud like firecrackers. The sound echoed a little, and he stepped closer, towering over her. He thought this was it, another easy win. He'd push her around, make her scared, and walk away laughing like he always did. The kids nearby slowed down to watch, some snickering, some whispering. They knew Tyler's stunts. They'd seen this show before. But then, something happened. Before Tyler could even move his hands, a big shadow fell over him. It stretched long and dark across the ground, like a giant had stepped into the sun. Tyler's grin froze. A deep voice cut through the air, low and strong, like thunder rolling in. "I think the lesson's for you, kid." The words weren't loud, but they hit hard, stopping everything. The kids watching went quiet. Even the wind seemed to hush. Tyler spun around fast, his eyes wide. And there he was, a tall man standing right behind him. This guy wasn't like anyone Tyler had ever seen. He wore a sharp black suit that looked expensive, the kind you see in movies. His hands were big, with scars crisscrossing his knuckles like a map of old fights. His face was hard, and his eyes? They were dark and cold, the kind of eyes that could stop your heart with just a look. He didn't smile. He didn't blink. He just stood there, staring down at Tyler like a mountain that wouldn't move. Behind this man were two more guys. They were huge, like, really huge. They looked like they could lift a car with one hand. They wore black sunglasses, even though the sun was almost gone, and their faces were blank, like statues. They didn't say a word, but they didn't have to. They stood close to the man in the suit, ready for anything, like guards protecting a king. The air felt heavy now, like something big was about to happen. Maya stepped forward, calm as ever. She didn't shake or look scared. She just walked up beside the tall man and looked at Tyler. Her voice was quiet but clear. "Tyler," she said, "meet my dad." That was it, just 3 little words. But those words were like a bomb dropping right in front of everyone. The kids watching gasped, their mouths falling open. A few stepped back, eyes huge. Tyler's face went white, like all the color drained out of him. His hands dropped to his sides, and he stood there, frozen, like a deer caught in headlights. Who are you?" he stammered, his voice wobbly now. The tough guy act was gone. He sounded small, like a little kid who'd lost his way. The man in the suit smirked, just a tiny lift of his lips. It wasn't a nice smile, it was a warning. "Name's Marcus Jackson," he said, his voice deep and slow. "Maybe you've heard of me. I run things around here, things your daddy's fancy car can't touch." He took a step closer, and Tyler flinched, stumbling back a little. Marcus Jackson. That name hit like a lightning bolt. Yep, he wasn't just any dad. He was the most feared crime boss in the whole city. Everyone knew the stories well, the grown ups did, and some kids too. They whispered about him in the streets, saying he was tougher than steel, scarier than a monster. He didn't just have money or a big house. He had power, real power. The kind that made people listen, made them afraid. And Tyler? He just messed with this man's little girl. The kids watching couldn't believe it. One girl dropped her backpack, her jaw hanging low. A boy muttered, "No way," under his breath. They'd all thought Maya was just the quiet new girl, someone small and easy to pick on. But now they saw her standing next to Marcus Jackson, her dad, and everything clicked. She wasn't weak. She wasn't alone. She'd been hiding this the whole time, like a secret weapon waiting to fire. Tyler's eyes darted around, looking for a way out. His tough talk, his big laughs, they were gone. He looked like he wanted to run, but his legs wouldn't move. Marcus tilted his head, staring at him. "You like picking on my daughter?" he asked, his voice low but dangerous. "Shoving her? Writing your little notes?" Tyler opened his mouth, but nothing came out. He was scared, really scared, for the first time ever. Maya just stood there, her face still calm. She didn't need to say much. Her dad was here now, and that was enough. All those days of Tyler pushing her, tripping her, laughing at her, they led right to this moment. He thought he was the king of the school, but he'd picked the wrong fight. Marcus Jackson wasn't some regular dad with a boring job. He was a boss, a crime boss, and Tyler was just a kid who'd stepped way out of line. "Bet you didn't see that coming, huh?" One minute, Tyler's cracking his knuckles, ready to scare Maya again. The next, he's face to face with a man who could snap him like a twig. The playground, the gym, the whole school, it all felt different now. The air was thick with shock. The kids who'd laughed with Tyler before? They weren't laughing anymore. They were staring, wide-eyed, at Marcus and his big guys in sunglasses. What's Tyler gonna do now? He can't talk his way out of this. His dad Aldsmar couldn't save him, not with Marcus Jackson standing there, scars and all. He'd been so busy being mean, he didn't see the real Maya. She wasn't just a quiet girl. She was Marcus Jackson's daughter, and that changed everything. The king of the schoolyard was about to learn a hard lesson, and it was all because he didn't know who he was messing with. So, what do you think? Can Tyler wiggle out of this mess, or is he toast? Stick around, this story's got more surprises coming. Tyler's big moment was over, and now he was in trouble, big trouble. He tried to back away from Marcus Jackson, his sneakers scraping the ground. His tough guy face was gone, and he looked like a scared little kid. Marcus stepped closer, his black suit making him look even taller. "You like picking on people, huh?" he said, his voice low and dangerous, like a growl from a big dog. "Let's see how you like it when someone bigger comes for you." He didn't even have to raise a fist or shout. Just his words and that hard stare were enough. Tyler was already shaking, his hands trembling like leaves in the wind. The principal, Mr. Carter, came running over fast. His face was red, and he was sweating buckets, like he'd just run a race. "Mr. Jackson, sir, I'll handle this," he stuttered, wiping his forehead with a shaky hand. He looked at Marcus, then at Tyler, then back at Marcus. He didn't know what to do, but he knew one thing: Marcus Jackson wasn't someone to mess with. The kids watching held their breath, waiting to see what would happen. Marcus just nodded once, slow and calm, then turned to Maya. "Let's go, kiddo," he said, his voice softer now. She smiled a little and walked off with him, leaving Tyler standing there, small and alone. By Monday, everything was different. Tyler was gone. Poof, just like that. Kids whispered in the halls that he'd been transferred to another school far away. Some said his dad had to beg Marcus not to ruin their family. "Please, don't hurt us," they imagined him saying, all scared and quiet. Nobody knew for sure, but one thing was clear: Tyler wasn't coming back. His reign as the schoolyard king was over, and it ended fast. As for Maya, she walked into class that morning with her head high. No more looking down, no more hiding. Her backpack swung on her shoulder, and her steps were strong. The kids who'd laughed at her before, who'd cheered for Tyler, they wouldn't even look her in the eye now. They stared at their desks or whispered to each other, too nervous to say anything to her. She didn't need to talk or brag. Everyone knew the truth: Maya Jackson wasn't someone to mess with. Her dad was Marcus Jackson, and that was enough. How's that feel? Pretty good, right? Tyler thought he could push Maya around forever, but he got what was coming to him. Justice served, nice and simple. Maya didn't have to fight or yell, she just let her secret do the work. Now the school was quieter, and the bullies weren't so loud anymore. What do you think? Did Tyler learn his lesson? After everything went down, Maya Jackson went back to her quiet life at Lincoln Middle School. She didn't turn loud or start bossing people around. She stayed the same, small, shy, with those big brown eyes that held secrets. She walked the halls, sat at her desk, and ate her lunch by the window, just like before. But things were different now. Oh yes, Very different. The air around her had changed. The kids knew her story. They'd seen her dad, Marcus Jackson, step in and shut Tyler Brooks down. Maya didn't need to say a word, her quiet was loud enough. She'd shown everyone something big that day. Looks can trick you, like a magic trick that fools your eyes. Tyler was the loudest guy in the room, always shouting and laughing, acting like he was the toughest. Everyone thought he was strong because he was noisy and mean. But loud doesn't mean strong, not always. Maya was the quiet one, the girl nobody noticed at first. And guess what? She had the real power. She flipped the game upside down without even raising her voice. The quiet ones. They might just surprise you. They might have something big hiding inside, waiting for the right moment to shine. Think about that for a second. Next time you see someone getting picked on, maybe at school, on the playground, or even somewhere else, stop and look twice. That kid might seem small or weak, like they can't fight back. But you never know who's standing behind them, ready to set things right. Maybe they've got a friend, a brother, or even a dad like Marcus Jackson. Or maybe they've got their own strength, something deep down that nobody sees yet. Bullies like Tyler think they're the kings, but kings can fall. And sometimes, it's the quiet ones who push them off the throne. Maya's story makes you wonder, doesn't it? Have you ever met someone who surprised you like she did? Maybe a kid at school who seemed super shy, but then they did something awesome like hitting a home run, or standing up for a friend, or drawing a picture that made everyone go wow. Life's full of surprises like that. People aren't always what they look like on the outside. The loudest kid might be scared inside, and the quietest one might be the bravest of all. What do you think? Have you got a story like that? Tell me below, I'd love to hear it. This whole adventure with Maya and Tyler, it's a good one, right? It's about more than just a bully getting caught. It's about how anyone can be strong, even if they don't show it right away. It's about how justice can sneak up when you least expect it. If you loved this story, give it a big thumbs up. Tell your friends about it too, maybe over lunch or on the bus. Say, hey, you gotta hear about this girl Maya and what she did to a bully. Stories like this are fun to share, and they make you think. So, what's the big lesson here? Don't judge people too fast. The loudest voice isn't always the winner, and the quietest one might just change everything. Maya went back to being quiet, but now everyone knows she's not just the new girl. She's someone with power, someone who showed a bully that picking on people doesn't pay. Next time you're out there, keep your eyes open. You never know who's got a surprise waiting. See you in the next story. Bye for now.